Are they found in all of the 7 categories or not? They are found, each core value is found in at least one category. Okay? It's at least one, because otherwise, then the criteria is not comprehensive, right? Okay. So, for example, visionary leadership. Where would you expect visionary leadership to be found? Okay, category 1, okay, by definition 1, okay. It's also in strategic planning, right? So, vision, okay, so strategic planning. So, what else? Customer-driven excellence or learning-centered education. So where would you find that core value expressed? You would find that in 3, customer focus. You would find that in your processes, okay, in 6, okay. What about management by fact? So where would you find that? Oh, that will be 4, right? Okay. Oh, you'll find that also in 2, because you got measures, okay, in your strategic plan. And you'll definitely find that in 7, right? Okay, the results. So, the core values should be expressed in at least one category, and vice versa. Every criteria category is associated with at least one core value. Okay? Okay? So the core values are more stable. The criteria is the one that gets changed, okay? Because you're continuously improving the criteria. Core values don't need as much continuous improvement. These are what we mean by performance excellence, and over time, we improve the way we measure performance excellence, which is the criteria. I saw a hand raised at the back. No? Yes.
Sorry, I have wondered, try to think about the Bollick criteria. What happens if we move the second criteria from the stream, move up and then move down from the strategy plan, and then move up customer focus? Because the strategic plan is should be closer to the category number 4. What do you think?
Oh, okay. You exchange categories 2 and 3. Well, you can do that, okay, but the linkages are still going to be the same, okay, because the customer focus should dictate everything else, right? Impact, that should be number 1. Okay. And then that customer focus should be reflected in your strategic plan, right? And then your strategic plan, customer focus, strategic plan, then your leadership must be involved in those 3. So you can actually make an argument, we should have customer focus first, strategic plan next, and then leadership last, third, and then 4th would be the measurement, right? Okay. There have been attempts to actually do that. In fact, Singapore Quality Award before, their numbering was different. It actually reflected more what you were saying at that time. But the linkages are still going to be there. Okay. No matter what number, even if you put category 7 as number 1, okay? Results. So, but forget about the numbers. But those concepts are related in a particular. I know one of your pre-work assignment was to link 1, 2, 4, and 7, right? So 1, 2, 4, and 7. So, okay. Yes.
How do these core values come about? How do they arrive at these core values?
Oh, how do they arrive? As core values, okay. Why not 12? Why not 9? It had been 11. Oh, the question is, how did Baldrige come up with the 11 core values? Why not 9? Why not 8? Okay. Oh, the origin of that is, I think the origin of that goes back to the origin of the Baldrige itself. When the Baldrige program was created in 1987, this was at the time when there were so many quality gurus at that time. Yeah? And there were Deming, Joseph Duran, Bill Crosby. Okay, so these quality gurus, they had their own principles of PQM. So the core values, the first iteration of the core values, they were the common attributes, okay, that you would find in the philosophies of these quality gurus at that time. Okay. And then over time they have been validated and expounded. Now, the current iteration of the 11 core values is about 10 years old and hasn't changed since. Maybe some changes in the wording, like used to be called social responsibility is one of those. Now it's societal responsibility. But the idea is still the same. They all originated from the fundamental teachings of the quality gurus at the time. Yes?
Yeah, I mean, I know that we should focus on customer. In very bad situation, if student just want an easy process, don't concern about quality, but the organization needs high quality. How should we be the best organization?
Yeah, well, the quality there, you know, if you, it will take more than a day to respond to this question. Because every time I go to a university workshop and we talk about who is our customer, okay? The discussion never ends. Okay? Especially faculty, you know, with professors, they all have their different ideas as to who the customer is, let alone what is our product. Okay, so what is our product? So every time we have a discussion, what is our product? Okay, a day is not enough. Or what is our customer? This is my take. Ultimately, the customer of the university is whoever uses our product. Okay? Which means the workplace, employers, okay? Who else? The professional schools. If you're an undergraduate college, you send them to the professional schools, the medical schools, law schools, okay? Graduate schools, okay? So, or government, okay? Or military, okay? So, whoever will employ, okay? That's just one part. And you're just referring to the teaching mission of the university. Then you got the research mission of the university. So, who are the customers of the research mission of the university? Then, who? Laboratories, okay, research institutes, agencies, and so on. The student is just the carrier of that product. Okay? Okay? I don't want to use the word carrier. It's like a disease. You know? The product that we have is learning. In the teaching mission, the product is learning what goes into that student's head. And the student education it's quite a different entity, okay, compared to other institutions, because the student is the carrier of that product, which is learning, but the student is also a co-producer of that product, okay, because the student has to cooperate, okay, it has to cooperate, okay. So, in the way I would look at it then is that the student then is the arbiter of quality in certain ways, but not in all respects. Because when you look at excellence in teaching, for instance, okay, excellence in instruction, there are at least 3 facets of it, 3 components. Knowledge of the subject matter, right? Is the student the judge of that? No. Okay. The second is the organization of the course. Right? How organized is it when you deliver the course? The student may be able to make a good judgment as to how disorganized or how organized the course is. And the third is the delivery itself, the delivery of the instruction. So the way we look at it then is when you do student evaluations of teaching, you're really evaluating the delivery of the course. And you're also evaluating somewhat the organization of the course. But you rely on your peers to evaluate your subject matter knowledge. You rely on your peers to evaluate how organized your syllabus is, and so on. So when we're concerned that the student will be choosing easy courses, they have the right to do so, okay? But what's going to happen to them as the final product? And when they go out in the workplace, will they be the successful student that we want them to be? So they're hurting themselves in the long run. So I think our job is actually to counsel them. It's actually to counsel them, and hopefully they make the right decisions. Another consideration also here is Dr. Edward Deming, one of the quality gurus, never believed in grades. It's something that I have problems with. So you got to give grades. Okay? You got to give grades. And his philosophy is this, okay? Or maybe he was reacting to grading practices in the United States. Okay? Because the grading practice in the U.S., the most common grading practice is this. You grade on a curve. You assume that your students are on a bell curve. Okay? And so as a result of that, only X% will get A's, then you got a certain percentage that will get B's, you'll have a lot of C's, you'll get few D's, and you'll always have F's. Okay? That is what he was reacting to. Okay? And so, if you are a good professor, according to him, all of your students must pass. Right? But if you're a good professor, then because you transmit that learning, then, and because you admitted the student to your college, to your faculty, you are making a valid judgment that because I admitted this student to my university, then that means that this student is capable of making it. Okay? So, and therefore, the job of the professor, according to Deming, is a good professor if all students pass. And so, Dr. Deming was actually reacting to the grading practice of grading by the curve. Because, and the analogy that he gave is something like this. Imagine that you are a manufacturer, okay? And you would always say, 10% of my products are defective. Okay? Because 10% of your students will always have an F. Okay? Okay, so it's no different from saying that 10% of my products will always be defective. Okay? But your job as a manufacturer is to make sure that they're all within those limits, right? Remember the definition of good coffee? 74 to 82 degrees Fahrenheit, okay? No more than 5 minutes ago, okay? pH 7.4 and above, okay? So the job of the professor is to make sure that the standard deviation of your students, okay, who get out of your class, are going to be narrowing and narrowing over the years, as opposed to maintaining a wide standard deviation, which means that you really have not contributed, you really have not improved on your teaching. So, whenever I serve on faculty evaluation, teacher evaluations, for instance, and I was dean of business at that time, and then one of the comments that would come to me was an evaluation from the peer evaluation committee who would say, oh, this professor always gave A's and B's. Okay? And they would take that negatively. Okay, I had problems with that. In fact, it might be that they all deserve those A's and B's because they were actually very good. And then there is this another professor who would actually say, well, I'm a very good professor because I only give C's and D's. I'm tough. Okay? And even, well, it's either you're tough, yes, or you just cannot teach. You just cannot teach. And so your students cannot learn, because the fact that you accepted these students into the university means that they have the ability to pass, right? Okay, they have the ability to pass. And so there's a lot of mindset changes that need to be done in order to... The concept of performance excellence and quality, if you really are serious about it, introducing it in the university, it's not going to be always a popular concept. Because if you subscribe to it, then our job is actually to make sure that all of our students pass. And we build systems in our organization to make sure that that happens. Okay. Questions? That's a good question. I was afraid that it will take more than a day. Okay. It will take more than a day because usually when I say that, when I actually make that response in my university, there will be about a number of other voices who would say, "Oh, I disagree," blah blah blah. Okay, so it will take more than a day. Okay, any other comments? Okay. If you don't, then what time is it? We can either begin the workshop now or just take a quick break. Oh, by the way, before we do that, now we have full tables already. Those of you who arrived later, we had our first assignment, which is to have to go through the group operating principles. Okay. And then there are 7 of those, and our assignment is to make sure that everyone in your table, is assigned one of those principles to be a watch person. So why don't you finish that work, especially your table. There were 2 tables that had only one person each at that time. So finish that, and when you're finished, then we can take a break. Okay?